Welcome to an antique brass model steam engine part 3, fitting the slide valve and steam chest, setting the valve timing and bench testing the engine using compressed air. This clip shows the start of making the gaskets for the steam chest. I folded a piece of gasket material over and then cut them out as a pair. I didn't bother videoing the making of these gaskets because it's very simple. This clip shows one of the gaskets fitted to the steam chest, and as you can see it's a bit on the big side in places and needs trimming. I've fitted a temporary exhaust pipe, anticipating running this engine before too long. And here I'm rotating the flywheel to just see how the valve is travelling over the ports. And the valve wasn't travelling very well. It wasn't passing equidistantly over the ports. I slackened off the lock nut and adjusted the position of the eccentric rod to make the valve travel the correct distance at both ends. This is the bolt that holds the eccentric rod to the valve fork. And I wasn't going to use it, I was going to make a new part, but then I thought, no, sympathetic restoration, this is the part that's been fitted to the engine for many years, so I reused this one. As I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, this is not good practice. Having a threaded bolt as a bearing surface is never going to work very well. But for this antique brass engine that's never going to do any real work, it will be fine. Here is the slide valve inside the steam chest, and as you can see, it only just uncovers the ports. In fact, it doesn't uncover the ports far enough. To make matters worse, the valve only fits one way round because the driving block in the centre of the valve is not in the middle. Inside the steam chest originally was a large spring that someone had attempted to solder against the valve. Needless to say, I didn't refit the spring. I fitted the steam chest, connected some air, and the engine was very reluctant to work. I'm not entirely stupid and I do know the reason for this, but remember, these are tutorials, so I like to show beginners how to do jobs like this, which can be quite problematic. I would say there are 3 distinctly different things wrong with this slide valve arrangement. 1. The slide valve actually fouls the gasket, even though the gasket is cut quite close to the steam chest shape. 2. The slide valve is not the right shape. It's unmachined at each end. The valve is too long to uncover the ports properly. And 3, as per usual, the valve is quite a tight fit on the valve spindle. Don't forget, the only thing that holds slide valves against the port face is the pressure of the steam or air entering the valve chest. The solution was to cut the gasket slightly smaller so it didn't get in the way of the valve. Then I trimmed the valve itself using my 1-inch belt sander, removing a very small amount of metal from each end of it. And now the valve uncovers the ports the correct amount at each end. Finally, I filed the slot in the valve slightly larger so it floated on the end of the valve spindle. I refitted the valve chest, connected the air and... the engine runs. The timing's not right. I put far too much steam oil into the cylinder, which is pouring out of the exhaust pipe. It's making quite a lot of noise, but don't forget my workbench acts like a soundboard. When I lift the engine off the bench, it's a lot quieter, but the timing's definitely not right. I'm going to look at that shortly. First though, using a Stanley knife, I'm going to trim the gaskets so that they don't look unsightly. Small details like this make all the difference. The engine wasn't fitted with gaskets originally and leaked badly around the steam chest. This looks a lot better. You can't see that there is a gasket there because it's only a thin one, and the fit of the steam chest against the cylinder and the fit of the steam chest cover against the steam chest is fine and there are no leaks. Time I think to refit this pulley. Originally the grub screw was broken. Here it is with half of it missing, so I'm going to make a new one from a 2BA bolt. I rethreaded the pulley using a 2BA tap, and here you see the 2BA grub screw fitted in position. The reason for not fitting a 2BA Allen caphead grub screw is, in the time when this engine was made, it wasn't the done thing. There were always slot-headed grub screws. The pulley's running anything but true, but I'm not going to alter that, it's the way the engine is. Don't forget this is a sympathetic restoration. There was a bit of play in the main bearing at the flywheel end, so I thought I would adjust this. It's really not a lot, so the simplest solution is to remove the top cap, rub it up and down on a piece of wet or dry sandpaper until my hand aches, and remove a small amount of metal. I'm resting the piece of wet or dry sandpaper, which is 400 grade, on a piece of mahogany. This mahogany is flat enough for this job. After thoroughly cleaning the top bearing part that I'd been working on, I fitted it back in place and then applied quite a lot of lubricating oil to both of the bearings and the eccentric. I fitted a proper exhaust pipe with a cast elbow. These parts come from an American company called PM Research, although I buy mine in England from Forest Classics. And now it's insanity time. With some compressed air at a low pressure, I can rotate the flywheel and hear when the air is being admitted and exhausted. Then by moving the eccentric sheave around the crankshaft very slightly and nipping it back in position, eventually I get the ideal position to make the engine run well. This setting is not bad, but it's not right. Currently the slide valve is set for a late admission, which admits the air to the steam cylinder slightly late, after the piston has passed top dead centre at both ends. This is what happens when I set admission to be early. The engine runs and it's better and it's not as noisy, but it's a bit lumpy. You have to make a decision with some engines. This one has a heavy flywheel and the kinetic energy is more than capable of carrying the piston over top dead centre. But it's not going to be running generally, I would think, at this sort of a speed. So I want it to run at a nice slow pace. A lot of people have a thing about steam engines running slowly, but from my experience of seeing the full size, and I don't mean steam locomotives, I mean stationary engines, they didn't run particularly slowly. I'm going to compromise with this engine and move the eccentric so the timing is slightly retarded. That way it will not sound as hard and it will run far more slowly. When I turn the air pressure down, and believe me, there's not much air going into this engine at all, it just runs nice and slowly. I don't know if any eagle-eyed viewers have noticed, but the engine is running backwards. So I'm going to change the timing so it runs in a forwards direction. I'm doing this by rotating the eccentric sheave to the other side of the crank pin. When I admit the compressed air to the engine, listen. That's when the slide valve hits the ports. And off it goes. The engine is sat on top of a piece of Scotch-Brite, which in turn is sat on the two pieces of mahogany, and it's running quite sweetly now. The slide valve isn't blowing and the piston's definitely not blowing, and the power output from this engine is quite astonishing for its size, but then again it is quite a big brass engine with a 1-inch diameter cylinder. I'm taking great care not to trap my fingers in the motion work. As per usual, when I'm working on steam engines I always run them on the bench fast to start with. I'd much rather things fall off the engine here than when the customer gets the engine back. If you watched the last episode, you will know that I had to tap the piston into position in the cylinder with a piece of copper pipe. The good news is that the Teflon packing is running in perfectly, and the engine is starting to run very well at a slower speed. The exhaust beats sound quite even, the engine's running very well, and I think it's time for some slow motion. The engine's running quite well, and provided the owner oils the engine, not just on the external motion work but puts some oil into the cylinder, which you can do by putting the oil into the exhaust pipe and turning the engine in the reverse direction, which sucks the oil in. And that's it for this short series. Stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.